Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Shri Gurudeva ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Dandava Pranam. Just putting some water on the mridanga. It's quite warm today. So, we will begin with Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan is the auspicious invocation calling on the grace, the mercy, the presence, the sidelong glances of our beloved Gurudeva, our beloved Srila Prabhupada, our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Shri Shachinandan Gaur Hari, going all the way back to the original Guru who is Krishna himself and his Guru of Prem, Vrishabhananandani, Srimati Radhika. As Krishna says, Radhikar Prema Guru Ami Shishya Nakta. Radhika is my Guru of Prem and I am simply her dancing pupil. She makes me dance according to her tune. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, which is page 1 of this beautiful bhajan treasure trove. Shri Gaudiya Giti Gucha, starting with Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam. I have not seen if Jiva Pavana Prabhu was able to, there it is. So Jiva Pavana Prabhu has very kindly posted the Mangalacharan, and he also posts the bhajans in the comment section as well, along with their translations and commentaries of our acharyas. So Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam, Shri Gurung Vaishnavangscha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatam, Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam, Savetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha, Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Shrimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvang Shirashan Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padabjandataika Hridye Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvang Satatam Prapadye. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Presthaya Bhutale Shri Shrimar Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Yutti Namine अतिमर्त्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानां च पालिने जीवदुःखे सदर्ताय श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानोदयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाध्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्तिविग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणि श्रीमूर्तये दिनतारिणे रूपानुगव्यरुधापसिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदाम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगब्बरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्दिष्टसजनप्रिय वैष्णवसर्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोजो राधा मदनमोहनो दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भि वंशीवतत्ततस्तुतः कार्षन्मेनुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथश्रियैस्तु नः वृन्दायै तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयःकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दम्बुदिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनं हरेर्नाम हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलं खलो नास्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। दंडवत प्रणाम all Vaishnavas. So And now we will call for the mercy and grace of Sri Gurudev. Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna Prakase. Page 35 by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna Prakase. O Kabe Tava Karuna Prakase. Gurudev O Kabe Tava Karuna Prakase. Kabe Tava Karuna Prakase. Shri Gaurango Leela Hoi Nitya Tattva E Sudridha Vishwase. Shri Gaurango Leela Hoi Nitya Tattva E Sudridha Vishwase. Hari Hari Boli Godruma Kanone Brahmi Bodarshano Yashe. Hari Hari Boli Godruma Kanone Brahmi Bodarshano Yashe. Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna Prakase. Kabe Tava Karuna Prakase. Nitai Gaurango Advaita Shrivas Gadadhara Pancha Jano. Nitai Gaurango Advaita Shrivas Gadadhara Pancha Jano. Krishna Nama Rase Bhashave Jagata Kori Mahasankirtana. Krishna Nama Rase Bhashave Jagata Kori Mahasankirtana. Kartana Vilas Mridanga Vadana Shunibo Yapana Kane. Natana Vilas Mridanga Vadana Shunibo Yapana Kane. Dekhiya dekhiya se lila madhuri bhashibo premero bane. Dekhiya dekhiya se lila madhuri bhashibo premero bane. Na dekhi aba se lila rotana Kadiha Gaurango Boli. Na dekhi aba se lila rotana Kadiha Gaurango Boli. আমারে ও না দেখি আবার সে লীলার তন কাঁদি হা গৌরাঙ্গ বলি না দেখি আবার সে লীলার তন কাঁদি হা গৌরাঙ্গ বলি আমারে বিষয়ে পাগল বলিয়া অঙ্গেতে দিবে কধুনি আমারে বিষয়ে পাগল বলিয়া অঙ্গেতে দিবে কধুনি গুরুদেব কবে তব করুণা প্রকাশে কবে তব করুণা প্রকাশে গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ প্রভু পাদ জয় প্রভু পাদ গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা श्रील गुरुदेव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग की जय श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय A Bhara Kurunakaro, page 44 by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, calling out for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. E Bhara Kurunakaro Vaishnava Gosai Ebaro Karuna Koro Vaishnava Gosai Patito Pavano Toma Bine ke ho Patito pavano toma bine ke hona kaharo nikate gele pap dure jay kaharo पाप दूरे जाए एमन दयालो प्रभु के बाकोथा पाए एमन दयालो प्रभु গঙ্গার পরশ হইলে পশ্চাতে পাবন গঙ্গার পরশ হইলে পশ্চাতে পাবন দর্শনে পবিত্র করো এ তোমারো গুণ দর্শনে পবিত্র করো এ তোমারো গুণ হরিস্থানে অপরাধে তারে হরি নাম হরি স্থানে অপরাধে তারে হরি নাম তোমা স্থানে অপরাধে নাহি কোই রাম তোমা স্থানে অপরাধে নাহি কোই রাম তোমারো হৃদয়ে সদা গোবিন্দ বিশ্রাম তোমারো হৃদয়ে সদা গোবিন্দ বিশ্রাম গোবিন্দ কোহেন মম বৈষ্ণব পরাণ গোবিন্দ কোহেন মম বৈষ্ণব পরাণ প্রতি জন্মে করি আশা চরণে ধূলি প্রতি জন্মে করি আশা চরণের ধূলি নরোত্তমে করো দয়া আপনারো বলি নরোত্তমে করো দয়া আপনারো বলি এবারও করুণা করো বৈষ্ণব গোসাই এবারও করুণা করো বৈষ্ণব গোসাই পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ নাই পতিত পাবন তোমা বিনে কেহ নাই ও জয় বৈষ্ণব গোসাই জয় বৈষ্ণব গোসাই বৈষ্ণব গোসাই জয় 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 বৈষ্ণব গোসাই প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো 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 All Vaishnava Thakurs ki Jai. Radhe Radhe, Damara Priya Didi, Dandava Pranam. All Vaishnavas, Dandava Pranam. Now we will call for the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami. Suniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajan. So this is by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, page 51. Shri Rupanugatya Mahatmya. Shuniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajan. Shuniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajano. Shuniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajano. Shri Rupa Kripayo Mile Yugala Charana. Shri Rupa Kripayo Mile Yugala Charana. Ha ha Prabhu Sanatana Gora Parivaro. Ha ha Prabhu Sanatana Gora Parivaro. Sabe mili Vancha Purno Guru Yamaro. Sabe mili Vancha Purno Guru Yamaro. Shri Rupero Kripa Jeno Yama Prati Hoyo. Shri Rupero Kripa Jeno Yama Prati Hoyo. Sepado Yashroyo Ja Se Mahashoyo. Sepado Ashroyo Ja Se Mahashoyo. Prabhu Loko Natho Kabe Sange Loya Jabe. Prabhu Loko Natho Kabe Sange Loya Jabe. Shri Rupero Pado Padme More Samarpive. Shri Rupero Pado Padme More Samarpive. Eno ki hoibe moro Narma Sakhi Gone. Eno ki hoibe moro Narma Sakhi Gone. Anugato Narotame Koribe Shasane. Anugato Narotame Koribe Shasane. Shuniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarvajano. Suniyachi Sadhu Mukhe Bole Sarva Jano Shri Rupa Kripayo Mile Jugalo Charana Shri Rupa Kripayo Mile Jugalo Charana Jai Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan Prabhu hai 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 Prabhu Shri Rupa Goswami Pada Ki Jai Shri Sanatan Goswami Pada Ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Now we are going to call on the mercy of Shri Nityananda Prabhu. Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, page 58. Nitai Pada Kamala. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala Je Chaya Jagata Jura Je Chaya Jagata Jura Je Chaya জগত জুড়ায় যে ছায়া জগত জুড়ায় হেন নিতাই বিনে ভাই রাধা কৃষ্ণ পাইতে নাই হেন নিতাই বিনে ভাই রাধা কৃষ্ণ পাইতে নাই বৃদ্ধ করি ধরো নিতায়ের পায় বৃদ্ধ করি ধরো নিতায়ের পায় সে সম্বন্ধ নাহি যায় বৃথা জন্ম গেল তার সে সম্বন্ধ নাহি যায় বৃথা জন্ম গেল তার সে পশু সে পশু দুরাচার নিতাই নবলিল মুখে মজিল সংসার সুখে নিতাই নবলিল মুখে মজিল সংসার সুখে বিদ্যাকুলে কি করিবে তার বিদ্যাকুলে কি করিবে তার অহংকারে মত্ত হইয়া নিতাই পদ পাশরিয়া অহংকারে মত্ত হইয়া নিতাই পদ পাশরিয়া অসত্যেরে সত্য করি মানি অসত্যেরে সত্য করি মানি নিতায়ের করুণা হবে ব্রজে রাধা কৃষ্ণ পাবে নিতায়ের করুণা হবে ব্রজে রাধা কৃষ্ণ পাবে ধরো নিতায়ের চরণ দুখানি ধরো নিতায়ের চরণ দুখানি ধরো নিতায়ের চরণ দুখানি ধরো নিতায়ের চরণ দুখানি নিতায়ের চরণ সত্য তাহারো সেবক নিত্য নিতায়ের চরণ সত্য তাহারো সেবক নিত্য নিতাই পদ সদা করো ইয়াস নিতাই পদ সদা করো ইয়াস নিতাই পদ সদা করো ইয়াস নিতাই পদ সদা করো Nitai more koro sukhi narotamo boro dukhi Nitai more koro sukhi onarotamo boro dukhi Nitai more koro sukhi onarotamo boro dukhi Nitai more koro sukhi rakho rango charonero pasho rakho rango charonero pasho rakho ranga charonero pasho rakho ranga charonero pasho Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Nityananda Ram Jaya Nityananda Ram Nitai He 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 Jayo Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Jaya Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Jaya Nitai Gaurango Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Hare Krishna If you were to apply this bhajan to yourself, what do you take this to mean for yourself? How would you apply it practically in your life, here and now? O Nitai, please make me happy by keeping me close to the reddish soles of your lotus feet. What does that mean, and how do we apply it practically here and now? I look forward to seeing your revelations. Now we're going to call for the mercy of Sri Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Emon Sacira Nandana Bine by Sri Premananda Das Thakur. Emon Sacira Nandana Bine. Very nice, Haripriya Dasi. Shri Sachinandana Gaur Hari Ki Jai. It's page 7070. Or whatever Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts. There we go. Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Prema Bolina Ati Adbhuta Shruta Hoito Karo Kane Prema Bolina Ati Adbhuta Shruta Hoito Karo Kane Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Shri Krishna Namero Swaguna Mahima Keba Janai To Yaro Shri Krishna Namero Swaguna Mahima Keba Janai To Yaro Vrindavi Pine Mahamadhurima Vrindavi Pine Mahamadhurima Pravesha Hoito Karo Pravesha Hoito Karo Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Kebo Janaito Radharo Madhurya Rasa Jasha Chamatkaro Kebo Janayito Radharo Madhurya Rasa Jasha Chamatkaro Taroyanubhav Satviko Vikar Taroyanubhav Satviko Vikar Gochara Chilova Karo Gochara Chilova Karo Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Vraje je vilas rasa maharas premo parakiya tattva Vraje je vilas rasa maharas premo parakiya tattva Gopira mahima Vyabhichari sima Gopira mahima Vyabhichari sima Karoyo bhagati Chilo yeto Karoyo bhagati Chilo yeto Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Dhanya Kali Dhanya Nitai Chaitanya Parama Karuna Kori Dhanya Kali Dhanya Nitai Chaitanya Parama Karuna Kori Vidhiya Gochar Je Premo Vikar Vidhiya Gochar Je premo vikar prakashe jagata bhori prakashe jagata bhori emon Sacira Nandana Bine emon Sacira Nandana Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Uttamaya dhamo Kichu na bachilo Jachiya dile kokolo Adham Kichu na bachilo Jachiya dile kokolo Kohe premanande Emono gaurange Kohe premanande Emono gaurange Antare dhariya Dola Antare dhariya Dola Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Sacira Nandana Bine Prema bolina Ati adbhuta Shruta hoito karo kane Prema bolina Ati adbhuta Shruta hoito karo Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Bine Emon Sacira Nandana Sachi Nandan Jai Gaura Hari Sachi Nandan Jai Gaura Hari Jaya Sachi Nandan Jai Gaura Hari Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura He Gaura He Gaura He Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. So do you remember the other day we were speaking about how does one say I am yours or you are mine? So it's in this bhajan by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Atma nivedana Tua Pade Kori. He says, Ami to tomar, tumi to amar. So Ami means I am, to tomar, I am yours, and tumi to amar, you are mine. All I know is that I am yours and you are mine. So we will sing that bhajan now. It's a bhajan of surrender to Krishna, also surrender to Gurudeva, to Gaura Nityananda Prabhu. Gurudev said this can also be sung for Gurudev. So Atma Nivedan, page 208 by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Having submitted my soul at your feet, I am supremely elated. Sorrow is banished and no anxieties remain. I see only bliss in the four directions. Your 2 feet are reservoirs of nectar that bestow freedom from lamentation and fear. Now, by taking refuge of them, I have given up the fear of worldly existence. I shall serve in your household, never partaking of the fruits of my labor. What does that mean? It means not just enjoying it for myself, but serving Krishna and then honoring his prasad. I shall diligently tend to your satisfaction only, being fully dedicated to your feet. In the course of serving you, whatever difficulties may come are indeed the topmost joy. In the course of serving you, whatever difficulties may come are indeed the topmost joy. The pains and pleasures of service to you are the greatest assets, for they destroy the misery of nescience. So in service, he's saying, whether the difficulties come due to that service, whether it's pleasurable or painful, as long as he's able to serve, This will destroy the misery of nescience. And actually, he says, whatever difficulties, because these difficulties bring about that topmost attainment. Then one is, in essence, seeing it in terms of its result. If someone is striving very intently to get something which is very dear to them, very precious, and they attain that result, is that striving not worth it? Are all the difficulties that one had to endure not worth it? So he's saying whatever difficulties may come are indeed the topmost joy. I have completely forgotten my past history due to experiencing the joy of service to you. All I know is that I am yours and you are mine. Amito tomar, tumito amar. What need is there of any other treasure? Bhakti Vinod, submerged in the ocean of bliss, devotes all of his efforts in service to you and dwells in your house according to your wishes. So this is definitely a mood of surrender, Sharanagati. And Srila Gurudev said that this bhajan, he mentioned 4 specifically, but he was giving an indirect reference to all Sharanagati bhajans, can also be applied to Gurudev. And because I see that, when I remember that when I see this bhajan, I actually see how he submitted himself to the lotus feet of his Gurudev, giving everything, all of his mind, his heart, his body, his soul, his senses, everything in the service of his Gurudev. Haripriya Dasi, that's a very beautiful way of looking at it. This Tatte Nukampam Susamikshamano. That is one is either accepting that what is coming to them as the result of karma, as a debt to repay them, but the higher conception, or the conception of one who has given everything, their full everything at the lotus feet of the Lord or Gurudev, then they will have this idea that what is coming to me is the mercy of the Lord, and this is also helping me to surrender more, to hold on more tightly. So they will take that view with that verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Tatte Nukampam. Atma nivedana, Tua Pade Kori, Hoinu paramo sukhi, Dukha dure gelo, Chinta na rahilo, Chori ke anundo dekhi. Atma nivedana, Tua Pade Kori, Hoinu paramo sukhi, Dukha dure gelo, Chinta na rahilo, Chori ke anundo dekhi. Ashokaya bhai amritaya dharo, tomaro charano dvai, tahate ekhon vishram lobhiya, charinu bhavero bhai. Ashokaya bhai amritaya dharo, tomaro charano dvai, tahate ekhon vishram lobhiya, charinu bhavero bhai. Tomaro sangsare koribo sevon, নাহিব ফলেরো ভাগী তব সুখ যাহে করিব যাতন হয়ে পদে অনুরাগী তোমার সংসারে করিব সেবন নাহিব ফলেরো ভাগী তব সুখ যাহে করিব যতন হয়ে পদে অনুরাগী 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 তোমার সেবায় দুঃখ হয় যত সেও তো পরম সুখ সেবা সুখ দুঃখ পরম সম্পদ নাশয়ে অবিদ্যা দুঃখ তোমার সেবায় দুঃখ হয় যত সেও তো পরম সুখ সেবা সুখ দুঃখ পরম সম্পদ নাশয়ে অবিদ্যা দুঃখ পূর্ব ইতিহাস ভুলিনু সকল সেবা সুখ পেয়ে মনে আমি তো তোমার তুমি তো আমার কি কাজয় পর ধনে পূর্ব ইতিহাস ভুলিনু সকল সেবা সুখ পেয়ে মনে আমি তো তোমার তুমি তো আমার কি কাজয় পর ধনে 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 ভক্তি বিনু আনন্দে ডুবিয়া তোমার সেবার তরে সব চেষ্টা করে সব চেষ্টা করে তব ইচ্ছা মতো থাকিয়া তোমার ঘরে ভক্তি বিনোদ আনন্দে ডুবিয়া তোমার সেবার তরে সব চেষ্টা করে তব ইচ্ছা মতো থাকিয়া তোমার ঘরে আত্মনিবেদন তুয়া পদে করি হইনু পরম সুখ dekhi dukha dure gelo chinta no rahilo chori ke anundo dekhi Atma nivedana Tua Pade Kori Hoino paramo sukhi Dukha dure gelo chinta no rahilo chori ke anundo dekhi chori ke anundo dekhi chori ke anundo dekhi hoinu paramo sukhi chori ke anundo dekhi chori ke anundo dekhi hoinu paramo sukhi Prabhu hai 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 O Prabhu hai Prabhu hai Prabhu hai Prabhu hai O Prabhu hai Prabhu hai Prabhu hai Prabhu hai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. With bhajans like this that are actually so far beyond my adhikar, meaning if I were to just say it without acknowledging the author, this is not the prayer that is coming from my mind or heart. This is beyond me. So how should we approach these prayers? We can pray to the author, to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. O Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I know that you wrote this down for my benefit. He didn't need to write it down. All of these moods are flowing in his heart. But for our benefit, he wrote this down so that we can pray. But I'm so far away from this kind of prayer or this kind of reality that have I really submitted my soul wholly at the feet of the Lord? Have I really done this? Have I really taken shelter of Krishna, or am I still fully bound in this material consciousness, thinking that I am this body, this is my place of enjoyment, these things I want to develop attachments to and I want to enjoy them for myself, always surrounding myself with those things which are pleasing to my senses, having so much lust and anger and greed and madness and envy and pride and all of these things. So how do I apply this prayer to myself? I will pray to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. O Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you have mercifully manifested this prayer. Please manifest even a drop of that mood into my heart. I don't have that. I have not awakened that. But I know that I should. I know that my Atma is made for this. So please be merciful to me and help me to attain even a drop of this mood. Why do we always say a drop? Because Krishna is tricky. If you open the door even that much, just a little crack, and you're peeping out with eagerness to see him, he will take notice and make his way toward you. We know that pastime, beautiful, sweet pastime, where that one gopi, before even coming to Vrindavan, she had heard about the beauty of Krishna, the sweetness of Krishna, how attractive he is, how magnificent he is upon entering the forest in the morning with his friends and his calves. So from her very childhood, she desired to see this amazing, beautiful sight. She had heard that those eyes that have not seen this vision, they are completely useless. They should be set on fire or struck by the thunderbolt of Indra. They have no purpose whatsoever. And so by hearing from her childhood, she developed such a greed, an eager desire to have this darshan. It so happened that due to her intense eagerness, she was married to a Brajbasi, and luckily she was able to move to Vrindavan. Being in Vrindavan, she was living, of course, in the home of her husband and in traditional families, which we don't really have much of anymore. But in traditional families, it would be the husband and his family. So she would marry into that situation. So there was her mother-in-law and her sister-in-law, the mother of her husband and the sister of her husband. They were always present there, engaging her in so many household duties. She had heard that, oh, Krishna is now just going to the forest. So her mother-in-law and sister-in-law, they heard the flute of Krishna as Krishna was entering the forest in the morning. Our Srila Gurudeva was explaining how it was as if through that flute song, Krishna was manifesting his heart and sharing that. It was inundating all of Vrindavan, and all were so attracted. So everyone would go to see Krishna in the morning. Not only the humans, the animals, the bees, the birds, the insects, everyone would go to see Krishna as he was entering the forest in the morning. So this mother-in-law and sister-in-law said, we're going to go and see Krishna. And she said, I'm also coming. She was so excited. This would be her first time. They said, no. You're not qualified for this. You cannot go. She said, what do you mean I cannot go? Everyone in Vrindavan is going. The birds, the bees, the animals, every human, everyone is going. Only I can't go. They said, no, you're not qualified. There's a black snake out there, and if he bites you, that poison will never leave you. You will be poisoned forever. You are not qualified to go. She said, I must go. They said, absolutely not. So they heard Krishna's flute. They told her to stay put, and they ran to go see Krishna as he was coming nearby. So at that time, so many of these young gopis, they could not go out. Their husbands, their families blocked them. They were looking from their roofs, from trees, through their windows. And this one was glancing through a crack in the door. Can I see Krishna as he's entering the forest in the morning? Just at that time, with great intense eagerness to see Krishna, as Krishna passed her door, Gurudeva said, if anyone is eager to see Krishna, then he will also be very eager to see them. So he twisted the tail of a calf, and that calf turned and ran toward her door as if it was trained to do so, and burst her door open. And Krishna had been chasing after the calf. Her door was quite open. She was standing there, and Krishna stood in front of her. He assumed his most beautiful form, Shyamam Tribhanga Lalit, standing in this threefold bending form, holding a flute to his lips. Srila Gurudeva said, his shoulders looked very broad and his waist was very thin like a lion. He gave his most beautiful darshan to her, and she was completely stunned. And just to top it off, he took his flute and under her chin like this, and he turned and walked away. Her heart was completely gone, finished. He stole her heart and walked away. Srila Gurudeva said 20 minutes had gone by or longer, and she was just standing there thinking, he touched me. Her mother-in-law and sister-in-law came back. What happened to this girl? She was just standing there like a pillar, stone pillar, completely stunned. And they were wondering what happened to her. They said, she needs to be occupied. So they told her, you should churn butter, or churn yogurt to make butter. And so she put the churning rod in a pot of yogurt, or what she thought was yogurt, to make butter, and began churning, just thinking of Krishna. But what she didn't hear, the other household members heard. They heard loud ruckus She had accidentally put it inside a pot of mustard seeds instead and was churning that instead of the yogurt. And it was making a horrible noise. And they were like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, she needs to be kept busy." They actually warned her, "We warned you not to go out, not to see. Now this poison has entered you." So they sent her to the well to fetch some water. They put 2 pots on her head, another pot here, a rope in the arm, and gave her a baby in the other arm and sent her go get some water. So she went to go get water, only thinking of Krishna, completely mesmerized. And then she began tying the rope around the pot, or what she thought was the pot, and began to lower that pot into the well, only thinking of Krishna. Her mind was completely gone, absent. The other gopis who were there collecting water at the well, they saw what she was doing. "Hey, what are you doing, crazy lady?" She had tied the rope around the baby and started lowering the baby into the well. They rescued the baby and they were like, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" Many couldn't understand, but those who had experienced the same thing understood. Some were saying it seems like she's been possessed by a ghost, a bhoot. And they said, "No, this is no bhoot. This is the effect of Nanda Kaput." Means she has been bitten by that black snake. She has seen that beautiful form of Shyamasundar Krishna. Why did I tell this? Because one crack in the door, it was just one crack she made available, and with eagerness looking out. So we pray to our Guru Varga, we pray to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we pray to our Gurudeva. Please be merciful to us and give me just one drop. It's that one crack, just that one bit. That much taste will be sufficient to completely pull me, pull my mind, pull my heart, my life, my everything, and engage it in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. Yes, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So on that note, Bandhu Sange Jari Tava Ranga Parihas. One, two, 4 in our Gaudiya Giti Guccha. If it's understood in context, how the gopis or how others are referring to Krishna like that, this black snake, sometimes this term is used in a negative connotation. But in this case, it is used in the best of all connotations. And the gopis also warn each other, "Oh Sakhi, be careful. Be very careful. If you care anything about your material life, your friends, your family, your attachments in this world, your best friends that you can share the deepest moods of your heart with. If you care anything about all of these attachments in this world, be extremely careful. Whatever you do, don't go to Vrindavan." But really they're saying, go, go, go. And if you happen by some great misfortune, it means fortune, to go to Vrindavan, whatever you do, do not go to Keshighat. That means go. And if by some great misfortune you happen to go there, whatever you do, do not look upon the face of Govindaji. Do not look upon the face of Govinda. Standing under that Bangshivat, that beautiful banyan tree, smiling so sweetly, his face glowing like a million moons. His lips, they look like freshly sprouted leaves, and he's holding a flute to his lips, casting sidelong glances. If you see that face, it will be as if that poison has entered you, and you will be finished, meaning your connection to this world, finished. He's so attractive, so charming, so beautiful. You will forget everything else. As our Srila Gurudev said in South Africa, if you could take all of the beauty in the entire universe, anything that is considered beautiful in the entire universe, and condense it into one point, that wouldn't even equal one particle of dust on the feet of Krishna. How beautiful is Krishna? So, also Srimati Radhika's hair is compared to a black snake. Rupa Goswami had written it because he had seen it in his darshan. When Sanatana Goswami Pad read it, he was like, no, it's not appropriate to compare our Swamini's, any of her glories or attributes, to a black snake. And Rupa Goswami told Sanatana Goswami Pad, you are my guru, you are welcome to change anything as you see fit. You can correct it. So just after that, Sanatana Goswami Pad was walking, and off in the distance, in the groves and the trees, he saw a bunch of young girls swinging on a swing. They were having fun and laughing and playing and joking. But then he saw something which frightened him. He saw what appeared to be a big black snake like a cobra, and it was swinging this way and that way. And he started screaming, "Lali, Lali, be careful, there's a black snake, there's a black snake." And then as he was running toward that, the vision disappeared, and he realized, oh, that was Srimati Radhika with her Sakhis, and she was swinging. And as she was swinging, her hair, which was braided, it appeared to be like a black snake moving like this. And then he told Rupa Goswami, as you have written, everything is perfect. And from that time, he didn't correct Rupa Goswami. He just accepted, because Rupa Goswami was witnessing and seeing. So sometimes it's like this. So Ramya Devi, eagerness comes in the association, especially of those who have real taste. In that Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Bhakti Janmamu, this awakens the desire to love and serve Krishna, the association of the pure devotees. And that's how greed awakens in the heart, by hearing. In the same way that the Yagya Patnis, the wives of the Brahmins in Bhatrol, just on the border of Mathura, they overheard from the gopis about Krishna's beauty, about Krishna's nature, his qualities, his pastimes. Within their heart, just by hearing this katha, they lost attraction to everything else and just wanted to serve Krishna. And when that opportunity arose, they gave up everything, they rejected everything to be able to go and serve Krishna, just by hearing from those who have real experience. So somehow or other, if our association together is successful, the result of it will be that we will want to run and hear from those who have that real, true experience. And by that hearing, that real Harikatha, almost everything that is binding us and holding us in this world will be removed. All nonsense and everything will be moved from the heart by that positive higher taste. Again and again in Srimad Bhagavatam is said, like Tat Kshanat. I can't remember if it's the first verse or second verse. Janmadya Sayaton Bayari Taritas Chatteshva Vigyasvarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kabaye Muhyanti Atsuraya. Second verse. Dharma Projita Gaitavatra Paramo Nirmat Saranam Satam Vedyam Vastamamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapantrayam Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikate Kimbapara Ishvara Sadyo hridavaruddhate traktatipi sushrushibish takshanat. Immediately, by hearing that Bhagavat Katha, by taking to the process of Bhagavat Dharma with one's full heart, all ignorance can become destroyed. Also it is said in that verse, Nashta prayeshvu abhadreshu nityam bhagavat saivaya bhagavat yuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. And Shrimatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hyabadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam. Again and again it is told that by hearing that Harikatha, also with Vikriditam Vrajabadu Viridam Cha Vishnu, when the positive attraction and taste comes as a result of that hearing, then automatically all things which are binding in this world will become gradually insignificant, and a taste for that will develop. And once one has actually had one semblance of a true taste, a real attraction, they cannot be pulled by anything of this material world. There's the example of that Manohar Laddu. Manohar Laddu is such that for those who have faith in it, who have never tasted it, they have heard about it, they only long to experience it. And for those who have tasted it even once, they only long to experience it again and again and again. And this is the nature of Krishna Bhakti. That once one has experience, real experience, true experience, they cannot help but to be completely, madly obsessed with that thing. And so what do you see? You see all of our Guru Varga, all of those who have experienced it, they can't talk about anything else. They don't think about anything else. They're just absorbed 24 hours a day in Krishna, consciousness of Krishna. In other words, they are truly Krishna conscious. And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam says that all of the activities that one performs in this world, if one does not somehow develop attraction to hearing Harikatha, the glories of Krishna, from the lips of his pure devotees, then it's all considered hard, useless labor. It's just binding in this world even. But that Harikatha, that is the real Maha Oshadhi, the real remedy for all disturbances, all diseases, everything. And that will attract our hearts to Krishna. So Srila Gurudev had made a resolution within himself that so many have given so many instructions about what is unfavorable for bhakti. Now I want to give something which is a focus on the favorable aspect, so that greed will develop in the hearts of those who hear this Harikatha to want to love and serve Krishna. And when Gurudev spoke Harikatha, he is so sweet. Every day Sudevi puts on Srila Gurudev and listening to him for quite some time. And I just keep hearing him say, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. He's always speaking about Krishna. Almost not many other things, just talking about Krishna a lot. And it's just so beautiful to hear. You can feel that attachment to Krishna as Gurudev is speaking. If we continue to pray from the core of our heart, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj explained, crying to Krishna, please send me your own person. We have experience of Srila Gurudev, we have experience of Srila Prabhupada, we have experience of so many beautiful stalwart Vaishnavas who are 100% engaged in the loving service of the Lord. If we cry with a sincere heart and pray, that is the process by which Sri Guru will manifest. And my prayer, because I tend to have material vision and tend to also use a lot of discrimination, nice way of putting it, is to be able to recognize that personality when they, or however they appear before me. Because it's very easy for a conditioned soul like myself to make mistakes, to superimpose one thing onto another, and maybe misread a situation, because we have these four tendencies: the tendency to come under illusion, tendency to make mistakes, imperfect senses, and cheating others. So I also pray within my prayer that please allow me to recognize such a personality, because otherwise I might superimpose some mundane idea upon them. As Pradyumna Mishra was seeing Rai Ramananda and superimposing some mundane idea. Of course, this is for pastime's sake. Or Gadadhar Pandit was seeing Pundarik Vidyaniti and superimposing some mundane idea. This is also for Leela's sake, but teaching us by their example that may I be able to recognize such a person, but really to cry to Krishna to be merciful and send me help. The same wine in any new bottle, no less than my Gurudev. Please be merciful to me. The key, our Guru Varga has said, is our sincerity and our tears. Sorry. Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas. Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas. Thake Abhilash, Thake Abhilash, Thake Abhilash, Thake Abhilash. Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas. Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas. Take Abhilash, Take Abhilash, Take Abhilash, Take Abhilash. Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas. Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas. Tabe moro katharako Jeo nako, Jeo nako. Tabe moro katharako Jeo nako, Jeo nako. Mathuraya keshi tirtha ghate rasakash. Mathuraya keshi tirtha ghate rasakash. Bandhu sange jadi tava ranga parihas. Bandhu sange jadi tava ranga parihas. Govinda vigraha dhari Tathai achena hari. Govinda vigraha dhari Tathai achena hari. Nayan ebang kimma drishti mukhe mandahas. Nayan ebang kimma drishti mukhe mandahas. Bandhu sange jadi tava ranga parihas. Bandhu sange jadi tava ranga parihas. Kiba tribhangamata varna samujwalla shyama. Kiba tribhangamata varna samujwalla shyama. Nava kisholaya shobha shri ange prakash. Nava kisholaya shobha shri ange prakash. Bandhu sange jadi tava ranga parihas. Bandhu sange jadi tava ranga parihas. Adhare bangshitita anartera muladhar. Adhare bangshititar anartera muladhar. Shiki chura ke o bhai korona vishwas. Shiki chura ke o bhai korona vishwas. Bandhu sange jadi tava ranga parihas. Bandhu Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas Se Murti Nayane Here Keho Nahi Ghare Phire Se Murti Nayane Here Keho Nahi Ghare Phire Sangsari Grihir Je Gohoy Sarvanash Sangsari Grihir Je Gohoy Sarvanash Taimor Mone Boro Tras Taimor Mone Boro Tras Taimor Mone Boro Tras Taimor Mone Boro Tras Ghati Baby Pada Bhari Jayo Nako He Sangsari Ghati Baby Pada Bhari Jayo Nako He Sangsari Mathuraya Keshi Tirtha Ghate Rasakash Mathuraya Keshi Tirtha Ghate Rasakash Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas Kabe Mora Katarako Jayo Nako Jayo Nako Kabe Mora Katarako Jayo Nako Jayo Nako Mathuraya Keshi Tirtha Ghate Rasakash Mathuraya Keshi Tirtha Ghate Rasakash Take Abhilash Take Abhilash Take Abhilash Take Abhilash Bandhu Sange Jadi Tava Ranga Parihas 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 Krishna He 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 Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. Radhe, Jaya Jaya, Madhava, Dayite, page 341 in our Gaudiya Gitigucha. It's nice to be able to link anything to Krishna. If there's anything, just try to remember Krishna, see Krishna in everything. So if the name of your friend, Hana, means go, no, don't go, and that reminds you of this bhajan, then that's favorable. Whatever it is, if it reminds you of Krishna, always remember Krishna and never forget him. So Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Dayite by Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Jaya Radhe Jaya Davi Pine Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Vrishabhanu Dadhi Tava Shashi Lekhe Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishakhe Vrishabhanu Dadhi Tava Shashi Lekhe Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishakhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Karuna Kurumayi Karuna Bharite Sannaka Sanatano Parnita Charite Karuna bharite sannaka sanatano parnita charite O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Taruni Mandala Mahite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Vrishabhan Nandani Shrimati Radha Takurani Ki Jai Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. Dandava Pranam Al Vaishnava. Pradimna Das, can you please elaborate your question? What was his way as per Yagya? Yagya Sankirtana prior. He was preaching the Yagya for this age, which is Harinam Sankirtan. Complete dedication to the lotus feet of Guru, Gauranga, Radha and Krishna. Always Harikatha. This was the most prominent. And when there was like any big day, like a temple opening or something like that, then there might, or maybe initiations, then they would do this Agnihotra fire yagyas. But it wasn't all the time, definitely not. I actually questioned some of his near and dear sannyasi disciples recently, and they said no, it wasn't. There's sometimes those fire yagyas would be done, but it wasn't all of the time for everything. Not for the people's departed ancestors and for this and for that. And this is some new addition into our Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage. But their focus was chanting, kirtan, preaching, In fact, this Agnihotra Yagya is coming not just from the previous age, but from the one before that. Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnu. In Satyuga, the process to attain perfection was meditation, which can barely be done properly these days. Tretayam Yajato Makai. In Treta Yuga, there was this Agnihotra Yagyas, and that was the process for attaining perfection. There's so many complications, and it's quite expensive to do them properly. Sri Ramachandra, he was also doing this Agnihotras, so many Ashvamedha Yagya, this Yagya and that one. In Treta Yuga. Dwapare Parichayayam. In Dwapar Yuga, the process to attain perfection was worshipping the deity form, Archa Vigraha, form of the Lord in the temple. And in Kali Yuga, still now there's something remaining of that. I said that because that's exactly what Srila Gurudev said, verbatim. There's still something remaining of that, but after some time that will also disappear. Kalo tad Hari Kirtana. The way to attain perfection in this age of Kali is Hari Kirtan, glorifying the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna in association with his devotees. And so this is the Yagya. Yagya means the process of pleasing the Lord. And who came to tell us that? Krishna himself came to tell us that, in the form of himself imbued with the mood of the greatest devotee of Krishna, that is Srimati Radhika. So Krishna Varnam, Fisha Krishnam. That is Krishna, but not looking like Krishna. He's looking golden like Radhika, Gauranga. Sanga Upanga Ashtra Parshadam. Coming along with his associates, his dham, his weapons, everything. His ashtras. What are his ashtras? His beauty and Harinam Mahamantra. And he has come to also give the yagya for this age. What is that? Yagya Sankirtana Prayar. Prayar means to preach. So he preached the yagya for this age. Yagya is, in this case, Sankirtan. Sanga Kirtan. Or sun can also mean completely focused and deep. So this is like Sukirtananu. In the association of devotees, under the guidance of the pure devotees, always remembering Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. And the last line, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Yajantihi sumedhasa. Those who are intelligent, sumedhasa, very intelligent, they will take to that process to attain perfection, which is the easiest, the most simple, and grants the greatest attainment in the shortest amount of time. So if you had $100 and you wanted to invest it and you had a guarantee of making it into $1 million within 50 years versus 1 year, and 50 years of intense work or 1 year of just being smart, intelligent, which one would you go for? The hard, difficult process or the most easy process? Most people with common sense would take the simple and easy process. So, yajantihi sumedhasa. Those who are very intelligent, they will take to that most sublime process of Harinam Sankirtan, especially taking shelter of and serving Radha and Krishna in the form of chanting their holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's no problem in doing the Agnihotra fire yagyas. But it depends on what we're doing them for, and if we're under the guidance of the pure devotees. But every day for someone else's departed ancestor, doing this and doing that, and basically making some money on the side from that, this is not our process. Our process is to follow the order of our Gurudev, our Guru Varga and Mahaprabhu, as closely as possible, and represent them and their teachings as closely as possible, without addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Simply as it is. And this is our duty, to represent what our Guru Varga has given. And as they've given, we shall follow. We don't need to make anything better, superior. Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada said this about Kirtan. He said we should not be known as a band of musical artists. That's not our point. To make a show, some fancy show. He said, the important thing is our devotion should be so deep that it creates a mood of devotion in the hearts of those who participate in that kirtan. That's really the success of preaching in kirtan. Not to impress an audience with some musical or technical ability. It's nice that there might be something for those who might not be able to fully appreciate maybe the pure devotee who is calling with their heart, breaking in separation from Krishna. But because our ruchi is not such that we can appreciate that, maybe. We like the nice sweet kirtan with harmonium and mridanga all played perfectly and everyone doing everything perfectly in time, and it's really nice and it sounds beautiful, but what is the depth of the connection to Krishna? So there's two different kinds of this ruchi. There's one for what I like and there's one for what Krishna likes. And Krishna prefers the gud-gud. Krishna prefers the choked voice, the tears, maybe the stumbling, the makeup only on one eye as the gopis are running. They put it on one eye, kajal on one eye, and running to see him. There's a place called Anjanok where Krishna applied kajal to the other eye of Srimati Radhika. Anjanok. When Krishna sees this, he thinks, oh, how beautiful. When Vidurani is giving Krishna the banana peel instead of the banana, putting the banana aside and giving him the peel in prem, this is more sweet to him, more beautiful, more loving. That someone is in such deep affection and love with him that they even forget themselves and their surroundings. Then you know, this person's completely obsessed. Krishna loves it, and he reciprocates accordingly, or tries. With the gopis, he says he can't. With everyone else, he reciprocates. Anjanok. You can read about it in the Braj Mandal Parikrama book. Sometimes on days of Vishnu Tattva or other things like that, some yagyas are done. Sometimes for marriages, sanskars, or initiations, temple openings like that. But every single day I've not seen this from Srila Prabhupada, I've not seen this from Srila Govinda Maharaj, I've not seen this from Srila Gurudeva, I've not seen this from our Guru Varga. Daily yagyas. It's quite attractive. People flock to it, they love it. But within the form of Sri Guru, Sarvadevam Mayo Guru, all are present. Sudevi, in this case, can you tell about when the devotee was telling in Badger that if you didn't have a yagya for your initiation, you're not really initiated?
Yeah, so...
Jor se bolo.
I will. So I was in a class and one devotee, this sannyasi actually, he was a sannyasi, and he said, basically if you haven't had a yagya, these specific samskars, then these impressions aren't there in you and the relationship to what you are doing is not valid. So he said, in this case he used a yagya, a fire yagya for initiation. He said one of the reasons we do it is because it establishes that sambandha, relationship. And he said if you haven't had a fire yagya, you're not really initiated. So I absolutely freaked out. Now this is after I had been with Gurudeva for maybe 6-7 years. And I heard this and I thought this person was so intelligent and so knowledgeable, how can he be wrong? I'm not initiated then. I'm not my guru's disciple. So I ran to his room and I was so upset. And it wasn't like at a darshan time, but they allowed me in and I'm like, Gurudev, I'm not your disciple. And he was like, what? And I said, I'm not your disciple. I never had a yagya. Such and such Maharaj just said, if I hadn't had a yagya, then actually I'm not your disciple. And he looked at me and he said, oh, really? Okay. Then go find a fire and sit in front of it. Then you'll be my disciple. And I was shocked. He just told me to find a fire. If that's where my faith is at. But actually this connection is eternal. Even he said the mantras that Gurudev gave do not just die after our bodies die. Those samskars are there within us and they go with us. So he said even death will not break this relationship with our Gurudev.
Didn't he tell you, he said a real initiation?
That was at my initiation.
But still.
Yes, he said real initiation begins when Gurudev first glances at his disciple. Everything else is just a formality. And I was really shocked by this, because you hear people say things with so much authority, and they're so much more knowledgeable than you, and maybe even senior. And then when I saw Gurudev and his reaction was like, what?
It was like, blah! If you think you're not my disciple, then go sit in front of a fire.
Because when I was initiated, it was in June 23rd of 1996, and it wasn't in any temple, it was in a Placentia temple, Radharaman temple, but it wasn't, there was no yagya. I was the only person there. Gurudev didn't travel with, wood and all this stuff for yagyas, so it just didn't happen. And I was really shocked and afraid. And then the next time I saw him, I needed him to bless my kantimala, my neck beads. Anyway, a long story happened. He didn't do it right away. Then I went to his room and I said, oh, Gurudev. And he looked and he said, oh, Shishya Devi. And it was almost like, reaffirming and confirming, yes, you are my disciple, my Shishya. You don't have to worry for this thing. So many times we do need yagyas to really impose this mood on us. I'm making a solemn vow, like marriage, circumambulating the fire, that bandha, that sambandha. We're tying the binds and the knots of that relationship, but it's also external. It actually doesn't, what binds me to my Gurudev is the fact that he's given me Harinam, he's given me Diksha mantras, he's given me Gyan, he's given me knowledge of Bhakti, of Srimati Radhika and Krishna, of Vrindavan. All of these are my sambandha. So in some cases, it's necessary and it helps us to understand that those vows are very serious and that they shouldn't be broken and that we're vowing in front of all the day. But it's all happening when he gives Diksha anyway. We're vowing in front of all the Devatas. We're vowing Gurudev is the sum total of all demigods. So it's maybe not necessary because it's external, although it is important, but it doesn't classify me as being a disciple or not.
Whether you have a fire or not.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Yes, so that part is important. Real initiation happens when Gurudev first glances at his disciple. Everything else is just a formality. We never heard of yagyas happening when Mahaprabhu accepted Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. There was no fire there. No external fire. There's the fire of Harinam. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam Shreyakairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam. We'll say that one afterward. And it's 7 flames of Harinam. So this point is very important. If one receives the association of such a great personality, it should be understood that all devas are present within them, as Sudevi said, Sarva Deva Mayo Guru. They are the sum total of all of the demigods. So if you make a vow to Gurudev, you're doing it in front of Agni Dev already, in front of Vayu, in front of Indra, in front of all of the devas. So the other stuff is just a formality, an external sanskar. If one has a very deep-hearted impression and relationship, mamata, with Sri Guru, then all of that is not necessary. But, as we know, people love rituals. The more rituals, the more fame, the more money, the more pomp, the more big temples and everything else you can get. You add more and more and more, and it's wow, but most people don't really know what all the rituals are really about. We add one, add another, add another, add another, and it turns into a something else. But simply to follow what our Gurudev, our Guru Varga have given, this is something for us to really contemplate. If we really just want what they have to give. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, when speaking about Guru Nishtha, he said, I will throw out all other currents of consciousness with the punch of my fist. I will accept only what my Gurudev has given me. Why? Because he has the word of the Supreme Lord. And just with one particle of dust from his lotus feet, I have full faith that millions of people of this world can be delivered. So, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Ar Na Kori Homane Asha. The words emanating from the lotus mouth of Sri Guru, lotus mouth, Padma Vakya, these transcendental words. This will purify my consciousness. Chitete Koriya Aikya. Ar Na Kori Homane Asha. I have no other desire for anything else. So many may do what they do. We will follow the lotus feet, the instructions, the teachings of our Gurudev. That's what Gurudev wrote to us in one letter. He said, never mind, so many will go. So many will do this. We will never do it. Like that. So, at this point, we are going to take shelter of Sri Harinam Prabhu, calling out to Radha and Krishna for their mercy, for their service. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. Make me yours. I am yours. And also, if we can develop that mood that you are mine. Amito tomar, tumito amar. If we can develop that mood as well. This is actually what controls Krishna, this mood that you are mine. But how to develop that mood? This mamata, this comes first with deep relationship to Sri Gurudev. I asked Gurudev that question, how can I develop love for Guru, for you, and then for Radha and Krishna? And he said, when you begin to realize, understand, and appreciate what a valuable treasure Guru is giving, more valuable than millions of treasures of this world, without expecting anything in return. When you begin to realize this, then automatically your love for Guru will develop. And then from there, very easily for Radha and Krishna. So this is the shortcut. So now we will pray to Radha and Krishna for their mercy. It is the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Guru Govinda Maharaj said it is the sound of the jiva crying in separation to Radha and Krishna for their mercy. Crying to the Lord for His mercy. So not only should we pray for ourselves, for our condition, please help me, please engage me in your service, but also pray for the benefit of all others, that they may also awaken to their transcendental loving service of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Gaura Premanande Hari Haribo Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guruvarga ki jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Haribo. The success of these darshan showings. I thought about her all day. Very good. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaye Tadbhaktaye Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaye Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayanitti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitti Namine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Giring Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. In the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada. And to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Jai Vaishnavas. Radhe 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 Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. So before entering into Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, we will first chant the first verse of Sri Shikshashtakam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So please repeat after me. Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreyakairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritashvadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Shri Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Before entering into Chaitanya Bhagavat, we will also sing the first verse of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, glorifying Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Sachinandan Gaura Hari. Please repeat after me. Ajanu Lambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishvambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki Jai. So before entering into Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, we'll first pray in the dust of the lotus feet of the author, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, and the commentator, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest itself within our hearts. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki Jai, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai. So, until now, we have been hearing glorifications of Lord Balaram in his many forms. Of course, we've been hearing some glorifications of Nityananda Prabhu. We've been hearing glorifications of Baladev Prabhu himself, of Ananta Shesha, of the Vishnu avatars, of all of the manifestations, Sankarshan, of Balaram. More in terms of the Tattva conception. But now, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur is going to introduce us to some Leela of Balaram. And so, we've glorified Ananta Shesh, how he is always glorifying the Lord, how he is the reservoir of all jivas, how he is also known as Jiva, how he is so kind and merciful toward the jivas who are like parts of himself. Like his children, Gurudeva said, so he has some special affinity toward us. And how he's holding multi-universes upon his heads, like atoms or mustard seeds, but he's so massive, so mustard seed would be like atoms. How beautiful he is and how he's always, always glorifying the Lord. That's his nature. He's always serving in every different way. And now we've come to text 22 of the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Tan rasa krida kata parama udar vrindavane gopi sane korila bihar. The narrations of Lord Balaram's Ras Leela pastimes with the gopis in Vrindavan are most exalted. So now we're going to hear about Lord Balaram's Ras Leela pastimes. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada comments on this verse. The definition of Rasa Krida is given by Sridhar Swami in his Bhavartha Deepika commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.33.1 as follows. Rasa Leela refers to a particular type of dance involving many women dancers. In his Brihad Vaishnavatoshini, Sanatana Goswami gives the characteristics of the Ras dance as follows. When many women join hands in a circle and are embraced around the neck by male dancers, it is called a Rasa dance. In the book named Sangita Sar, it is stated, when a male dancer performs, being surrounded by a circle of many women dancers moving about, it is called a Halishaka. When a Halishaka dance is accompanied by various refined tals, means tunes and beats, dance steps, and gestures, it is called a Rasa dance. As it does not exist even in heaven, what is the question of it existing on earth? This is from the Sangita Sar. In his Sarartha Darshani commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states, Rasa Krida refers to a Rasa dance in which there is a mixture of ingredients such as dancing, singing, kissing, and embracing. We must remember very, very strongly, and trust me, they will also get into it deeply, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Vrindavan Das Thakur, that the Rasa Leela or the Rasa dances of the Supreme Lord or of Baladev Prabhu, who is non-different from the Supreme Lord, is not the same as our mundane Rasa dances. There is a complete opposite difference. The opposite extreme. Sometimes our acharyas say heaven and hell. One will bring one further and deeper into samsara. the rasa dances that the people of this world engage in, is considered sinful and will drag one toward hell. And the rasa dance that the Supreme Lord engages in is the highest transcendental thing, the highest transcendental subject. And by remembering and especially hearing these pastimes with faith, with affection, with honor, and with regard from those who have experience of those pastimes. In other words, they have no mundane lust in their heart, they only have transcendental calm or prem for Krishna. When we hear from them these particular subjects of the rasa dance, that is the cure for our thirst for this mundane ras, the lust of this world, the calm of this world, which binds everyone in samsara. The cure for that is hearing this Rasalila Kata, Vikriditam Rajabidu Biridam Chavishnum, Shradhan Bito Nishiniyat Atabanayadya, Bhaktim Param Bhagavatim Pratilabdya Kama, Hridrogam Ashva Pahinot Yachirena Dhira. So when we hear these things being spoken about, we should hear them in the proper context, not superimposing our mundane ras onto them, or superimposing their transcendental ras and making it into some mundane thing. I once heard one Vaishnava say that the transcendental realm, everything is love, but it has a slight veil which appears like lust, but it is only pure love. In the material world, it is all lust, but it has a slight veil which appears to be like love, real love. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated, Atmendriya priti vanchatare balekam, Krishnendriya priti icha dhare premanam. The desire to satisfy our own senses and the senses of other materialistically inclined persons of this world, this is known as kam or lust. Krishnendriya priti icha. Krishna also has senses, they're transcendental. The desire or the hope of serving the transcendental senses of Krishna, pleasing him through his transcendental senses, dhare premanam. This has a name and it is known as prem. So it's completely the opposite. And so when we are hearing this discussion of Ras Leela, we should understand it from that perspective, not thinking that it's a bunch of mundane girls dancing with a mundane boy in the forest in the middle of the night. This is all transcendental. It is beyond the material realm. It is beyond any mundane activity. It is divine, and its nature and character are divine. So there is no flaw in it whatsoever. So I know the tendency is to superimpose because that is our material experience. But if we could just keep it very clear separation, very clear separation. One is mundane and leads one to hell. The other is transcendental and leads one to perfection. So there's the separation there. In Sri Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujvala vigrahasya govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. Or you might know it as Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. So that verse is stating that all of his senses are transcendental. And because they're all transcendental, each one is able to accomplish the function of the other. In other words, Krishna can eat with his eyes. When we see food, our eyes grow bigger than our stomach, and we relish looking at it, but our stomach does not get satisfied by just looking at it. We need to put it in our mouth, chew it, and swallow it to feel satisfied from it. But Krishna can fulfill the function of any sense through any other sense because he's completely transcendental through and through. And on the soul level, not the body level, but our soul level, we will also be able to be like that in a sense. That the soul does not need these mundane ears to hear. The soul does not need these mundane eyes to see. The soul does not need a mundane tongue to taste or to experience. So Krishna's senses are all transcendental, and he can accomplish any function through any sense. One Vaishnava explained it like this. Imagine, I like the practical examples because they kind of help to put it in a perspective. If you take clay and you mold it and make a form, a human-looking form, and you put a nose and ears and eyes and everything, all of that is still the original substance or clay. If you have let's say a ball of divine energy, from every point, from every part of that ball of divine energy, its transcendental senses, it has sensory perception. It can taste, it can hear, it can feel, it can smell, it can experience. Even where every thought manifests a result. Now you take that ball of divine transcendental energy and make a form from it. Can it still not hear from every part of itself? Means just shape it a different way. Make a human-like form, let's say. Every part of it is capable of tasting, of seeing, of hearing, of smelling, of feeling, of every sensory perception from every part of it. So he gave this example, and I was much, much younger at the time, but it helped me to be able to visualize the difference between a material body and something which is otherworldly. Because I'm limited to my senses to be able to experience, but the Supreme Lord is not limited to his senses. And because he is all-pervading, there is nothing which is inaccessible to him. There's nothing which is outside of himself. He's able to experience and taste everything, and that's what he does. That's why he's known as Vishai Bhagavan, the supreme taster or enjoyer of everything. So I just wanted to differentiate between the material, because we're hearing definition of ras, and then we can think, yeah, well, when I was young, I went to the club and we were doing ras. Yeah, it was not the kind of ras that is the kind that will awaken Krishna Bhakti, will not awaken divine love. It will take one in the opposite direction. So there's a big, big, drastic separation. So Rasa Krida refers to a ras dance in which there is a mixture of ingredients such as dancing, singing, kissing, and embracing. The word udara in this verse means great or exalted. Jiva Goswami describes Balaram's Rasa Krida in his Laghu Toshani or Vaishnava Toshani commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 10.65.16 as follows. So this is Jiva Goswami describing it. Sri Baladev, who is non-different from Sankarshan, solaced the damsels of Vrindavan by singing the glories of Krishna's names. Sometimes Sri Baladev draws Krishna from Dwarka by his mind and presents him before a particular gopi in a secluded place. Therefore, he is known as Sankarshan. What is the function of Baladev? Although he's non-different from Krishna, his mood is only service to Krishna. And he functions in the role of connecting all to Krishna. He also manifests in the form of guru for that exclusive purpose, to somehow help us to make our connection, our sambandha, our relationship with Krishna. So Jiva Goswami is explaining that Baladev, by his mind, is attracting Krishna. I remember when we were studying this, on Baladev Purnima we were discussing this. And I remember it was in Srila Gurudev's lecture about Baladev Purnima. And there it is stated that Baladev Prabhu, seeing the separation of the gopis, and as they were discussing Harikatha together, discussing and remembering the glories of Krishna, well, their separation, because they were glorifying him, there was a meeting through the glorification, but also an increased feeling of separation, was so acute, that acute meaning refined and intense, that Baladev Prabhu, seeing that pitiful condition, could not tolerate it. Seeing that condition, he petitioned the Lord profusely on their behalf. Like we say, Shunya Amar Duk Vaishnava Thakur Ama Lage Krishne Avedi Bena Prachur. The Vaishnav will petition the Lord profusely on our behalf. In this case, Baladev Prabhu, also the servant of the Lord, is petitioning Krishna profusely on their behalf. Vaishnavera Avedane Krishna Doyamoy Ehino Pamar Prati Habena Sadoy. Hearing that call, Krishna is bound to come, and he alleviates that suffering, pitiful condition. So what is the greatest suffering, really? It is that separation, that burning separation. One moment of separation feels like millions of yugas. The entire world seems vacant and empty, Mahaprabhu says, in separation from Krishna. And Narottam Das Thakur, in separation from the Vaishnavas, is feeling such pain of separation in his head that he feels it would be softer to hit my head on stone than to bear this pain of separation. It would be cooler to enter into fire than feel this burning of separation. Pashane kutibo mata anele pishibo gorango gunera nidhi ko tagere pabo. Narottam Das Thakur is feeling like this in deep separation. This is the separation moods of Vaishnavas, or pure devotees of the Lord. So Baladev Prabhu, seeing this condition, unable to bear it, by his mind calls Krishna, Sankarshan. And here Jiva Goswami is telling, he solaced them by singing the glories of Krishna's name. Sometimes he draws Krishna from Dwarka by his mind and presents him before a particular gopi in a secluded place. Therefore, he is known as Sankarshan. Now, he says Dwarka here. In the Braj Leela pastimes that are taking place in Bhoma Vrindavan, although technically Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, the original Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parityaja padam ekam nagachati. Still, from their mood or from what they are feeling, Krishna has left Vrindavan and gone to Mathura. From Mathura, because they were being attacked so much by so many demons and everything, Krishna needed a safer place for all of his family. Big family. It was growing, so then he moved them to Dwarka. Dwarka, his city was not built on the land. It was built on pontoons on the ocean. Yes, 5,000 years or more ago, this history is given. I've seen the airport in Hong Kong was built on pontoons on the ocean. It takes a lot to build 16,108 palaces on the ocean. Krishna's whole city of Dwarka was like this. But that Krishna still has some connection to Vrindavan, otherwise he would not be weeping every night in his bed, calling the names of the gopis in his sleep in separation. That same Krishna, Viyogini Radhika, and the gopis went to meet at Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse. And they were remembering and wanted to bring him back to Vrindavan as he was in Vrindavan. They didn't like to see him in all his royal garb, his royal robes and his helmet and everything. They just wanted to see that Krishna as he dressed in Vrindavan, wearing a pitambar, dhoti, and holding a flute to his lips, keeping a peacock feather in his hair. That beautiful Krishna, they wanted him to be with them in Vrindavan. So yes, they're calling him to come. And the entire Ratha Yatra festival, as we've said many times, represents that. The gopis bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan on the chariots of their heart by the ropes of their love and affection. So here we have Baladev Prabhu drawing Krishna from Dwarka and presenting him before any particular gopi in a secluded place. So we have read and heard that Baladev Prabhu, by his power of Sankarshan, he called Krishna. He took one gopi to any kunja, and they are called Krishna by his deep incessant prayer, and arranged their meetings with Krishna in any secluded kunja by the millions. Therefore he is known as Sankarshan. Karshan means to attract, and Sankarshan is intense kind of attraction, or San can also mean Sangha. So the Karshan, the attracting, for making the Sangha of Krishna and the gopis. Then Jiva Goswami says, in this way it is reasonable to say that Sri Baladev performed a Rasa Leela with his own gopis, because he is the all-knowing Supreme Lord and endowed with all potencies. He knows the internal feelings of his eternal beloved gopis. So Jiva Goswami is endeavoring to reconcile this so that there's no misunderstanding, because sometimes people are like, wait a second, Balaram was with Krishna's gopis? Wait a second, I thought Krishna's gopis are exclusively with Krishna. How is it that Balaram is with Krishna's gopis? And how does this make sense? And so we're going to receive more and more clarification on this point as we are reading forward. In this way, it is reasonable to say that Sri Baladev performed a Rasa Leela with his own gopis. Because he is the all-knowing Supreme Lord and endowed with all potencies, he knows the internal feelings of his eternal beloved gopis. If one explains this verse in another way, it would diminish the prestige of Dwaraka, so there is no need to further elaborate on this. That was Jiva Goswami's commentary there at that point. Then he further states, at this juncture, Baladev's mood as the older brother did not manifest in order to protect the pathetic gopis. Pathetic meaning that they were exhibiting and feeling a mood of pathos, deep separation from Krishna. Somehow that word has changed in the English language to mean something rejectable, pathetic, like that. But actually, if you look up the definition, the real definition, the original definition, it has a much more beautiful and sweet meaning. Srila Gurudev used to request the devotees to sing any kirtan in a pathetic mood, like Srila Prabhupada would sing it, evoking a mood of pathos. So Baladev's mood as the older brother did not manifest in order to protect the pathetic gopis. Jiva Goswami also gives a description in his Kramasandarbha commentary as follows. The all-attractive Baladev, who is known as Sankarshan, attracts Krishna by his mind and reveals him. The word Ta refers to Krishna's beloved girlfriends. Also, in his Brihat Kramasandarbha, Jiva Goswami says that the word Ta refers to Krishna's gopis. For an explanation of the phrase Gopi Sane Vihar, see the purport of verse 25. So we're going to continue in this flow, and it will become more and more clear as we go. Srila Bhaktisaranta Saraswati Prabhupada continues. There is a difference between the Ras Krida of Krishna with his gopis and the Ras Krida of Balaram with his gopis. The arenas of the two Rasa Leelas are situated in different places within Vrindavan. Where is Krishna's Rasa Leela with his gopis taking place? At Vangshivat, which was a very large area, going through all Sevakunj, all of that area, Vangshivat. And Baladev Prabhu's Rasa Leela is taking place at Ramghat, very far upstream. Jaya Ramaghat, Jaya Rohini Nandan. So it's taking place there at Ramghat. So Bhaktisaranta Saraswati Prabhupada is saying, firstly, they're situated in different areas within Vrindavan. Such spiritually variegated activities are of two types, Maryada, or awe and reverent, and Madhurya, or sweet. We must be extremely careful to protect our vision of spiritual variegatedness from the attack of monism. So sometimes in the explanation of these things, it can start to become quite monistic, meaning it's all one. Balaram is Krishna. These gopis and these gopis are all gopis. Actually, they're all Srimati Radhika, and actually it's all Krishna. And then it's all one. And the idea of spiritual variegatedness would then be diminished. So we need to be able to understand that there is also always spiritual variegatedness. As our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he states in his Radha Vino Bihari Tattva Ashtakam, Sagunam Nirgunam Tattvam. Both are there. The not variegated aspect or the monistic aspect, and the Sagun, full of all transcendental variegatedness. And if we are to avoid rasabhas, then we need to understand spiritual variegatedness. Otherwise, we will overlap one thing onto another and create an incompatible mixture of rasas which no pure devotee appreciates. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is giving us a warning here. We must be extremely careful to protect our vision of spiritual variegatedness from the attack of monism. Although Swayam Rupa Krishna and Swayam Prakash Baladev are non-different, the distinction between their pastimes must not be denied. There is a distinction, so we cannot deny the distinction. Even though Sri Baladev belongs to the category of the supreme shelter, he is Krishna's first manifestation, his own manifestation, Swayam Prakash, more than Mahavishnu. Even before Dwarkadish, there's Balaram manifesting. Before the first Chaturvyuha, before Narayan and Vaikuntha, before Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, there's Baladev Prabhu. Before Kanana Dakshaya Vishnu, Garbha Dakshaya Vishnu, Kshira Dakshaya Vishnu, Paramatma, before this Ananta Shesh, the first Swayam Prakash is Baladev Prabhu, and he is non-different from Krishna, and yet he serves a different function. Every particle of his being is made of loving service to Krishna, whereas Krishna himself is Swayam Bhagavan, himself the supreme. And his function is to be the supreme enjoyer. So we must understand the spiritual variegatedness. There is a definite distinction and it must not be denied. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada states, even though Sri Baladev belongs to the category of the supreme shelter, he is the prime example among the subordinates of the Lord. So his mood is always subordinate to Krishna. Nityananda Prabhu also has this mood toward Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, sometimes he exhibits some mood like breaking his Mahaprabhu's danda, throwing it in the river. But his mood is always serving and pleasing and assisting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's always there in that mood of a servant. So we'll just read this one next verse and then, yes. Text 23. Duimasa vasanta madhava madhuname hala yuddha rasa krida kahaye purane. The Puranas describe how Lord Balaram performs his Ras Leela in the 2 months of spring, Madhava and Madhu. Purport. According to Sridhar Swami's commentary, the word Madhu in this verse means Chaitra, March, April. And Madhava means Vaishakha, April, May. So that's right at this time. Baladev Rasalila is taking place. Although we just hit June, didn't we? Halayudha refers to Balaram, and Purane means in the Srimad Bhagavatam and in the Vishnu Purana. Text 24. Se sakala shloka e shuna bhagavate Shri Shuka kohena shune raja parikshite. So Now please hear those verses that were spoken by Shukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So now they're going to give reference to Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is known as the spotless evidence. Pramanam Amalam. Means there is no defect at all. And Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam. Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. It is the spotless Purana. Amala means without any mal or any flaw, any spot. Flawless. The ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures. The self-manifest explanation or commentary on all Vedanta Sutra. Nothing to be discarded. And it is very dear to all Vaishnavas. And also dear to those persons who are completely free from envy. They will relish. Those who are Rasik and Bhavuk, they will relish the Srimad Bhagavatam. So now they're referencing Srimad Bhagavatam. In the following 4 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, this is a commentary of Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, 1065, 17 to 18 and 1065, 21 to 22, Sri Shukdev Goswami narrates to Parikshit Maharaj the full moon night Ras Leela of Balaram and his Gopi friends. Shukadev had previously just described Baladev's arrival in Gokul to receive the affection of his juniors, meet his former Braja friends, and solace those who are afflicted by separation of Krishna, such as the elders, headed by Nanda and Yashoda, the friends of the same age, and the gopis, who had fully dedicated their lives to Krishna. So, on this note, remembering the pastimes of Baladev Prabhu, he came from Dwarka, sent by Krishna, to Vrindavan to give some solace to Nanda, Yashoda, all of the cowherd boys, and especially the gopis. So Baladev Prabhu, when he entered into Vrindavan, he was greeted so affectionately. All were feeling, just by his presence and his telling about Krishna, they were feeling Krishna's presence. But the gopis were feeling a little something else, and they needed a little special help. They were feeling much more desperate. Remembering Krishna, then their separation was also increasing more as well. So Baladev Prabhu gave them some extra special kindness, some extra special mercy, so to speak. And he was pacifying all of the Brajabasis, speaking about how he is, how is Krishna, what they are doing. And of course, Krishna, what does he say? Wherever my katha is being discussed, Mad bhakta yatra gayanti tatra tishtami. I reside there, O Narada. So as Baladev Prabhu, who is the best glorifier of Krishna, who's always speaking Harikatha, is present and speaking about Krishna to the Brajabasis, they're feeling as if Krishna himself is personally present there as well. But the gopis, they're a special case. And so on this note, we will end today. Shri Baladev Prabhu ki jai, Shri Baladev Ras Leela ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gauranande Hari Hari Bol. Shri Gurudeva ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Sorry.
Gurupalaka Kori Guruvara ki jai, Prabhupada Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai. Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hare Nama Sankirtana ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Govinda Damodar Madhaviti, Govinda Damodar Madhaviti, Govinda Damodar Madhaviti, Govinda Damodar Madhaviti. Bolo Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Shri Bihari Ju ki
Jai.
Jai Jai
Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Sham.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
So thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the teachings of our Gurudev and our Gurudeva, especially to be able to go through Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat together with all of you. I feel very blessed. Also, we would like to express our deepest appreciation and indebtedness to each and every one of you for giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Radhe
Radhe Radhe.
Radha Vinu Bihari Ju Sachinandana Gaura Hari
Ki Jai. Jividiyama Damani Hastamanyana Kal Milenge. Tot Morgen, bis Morgen. Radhe Radhe Sham.
You know, last night
Nitai Haula.
when we went
Nitai
to
Meli.
China, we only learned 2 statements. One was Nitai Haula.
Actually, my young brother learned them and taught us.
He wanted to know how to say I love you and
You are
you were
beautiful.
beautiful. So we learned these 2 statements, Nitai Haula and Nihan Meli. But I like the Nitai Haula means you are nice. And because it has the name Nitai in it, it's also amazing Sukriti builder. So there you go, Nitai Haula. All Vaishnavas, you are very nice.
Nitai Haula, all Vaishnavas.
Yeah.
Also, I really love that you all notice all the beautiful, like Srimati Radhika's earrings in her skirt. It's very, very beautiful. And one thing I want to say, I have a friend who I speak to all the time. She doesn't come on all the time because she's busy, but when she does, she really feels so much sweetness from all of the Vaishnavas who join this program. And she said if I even write Dandavat Pranam, they put hearts on it, and it made her feel so loved and so part of a beautiful Sangha. And also she was saying how she can't find things in the songbook and she doesn't know how to look things up, and she just feels so much honor and affection and respect for Jiva Pavana Prabhu for his beautiful seva, and that it saves her life when she joins. So I just wanted to acknowledge that you are all so extraordinary and lovely, beautiful Vaishnavas, and we all appreciate you so much. So my heartfelt Dandavat Pranam to all of you and for serving. So thank you. And hi Mom, Manu Mom. Radhe Radhe, dear
Radhe,
Vaishnavas.
Radhe.